Understanding kitchen receptacle circuits involves several key considerations, including the use of extra circuits and 15-amp circuits in addition to the two required 20-amp circuits. Firstly, if you have more than the two required small appliance branch circuits, can one of the extra ones then feed other outlets such as a range hood? The answer is yes, provided certain conditions are met. The circuit must be a 20-amp circuit using number 12 American wire gauge wire. It must also be protected by a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI. The circuit should not exceed 80% of its maximum load. For a 20-amp circuit, this means the load should not exceed 16 amps. Finally, the range hood must be rated for the amperage of the circuit. Secondly, concerning 15-amp receptacle circuits in the kitchen in addition to the two required 20-amp circuits, these are permissible under specific conditions. The circuit must be a 15-amp circuit utilizing number 14 American wire gauge wire. Like the 20-amp circuit, it must be protected by a GFCI. The circuit should also adhere to the 80% load limit. For a 15-amp circuit, this means the load should not exceed 12 amps. This circuit can supply both receptacles and lighting, but only if the total load does not exceed 80% of the circuit capacity. However, a crucial rule to remember is that every receptacle in the kitchen that is within 6 feet of a sink or water source must be on a 20-amp dedicated circuit. Additional important points to consider are circuit labeling and sufficient outlet provision. It's recommended that all circuits and outlets in the kitchen be labeled to indicate their amperage and GFCI protection status. This helps in future troubleshooting and ensures safety. Providing a sufficient number of outlets throughout the kitchen is also recommended to prevent overloading circuits. Overloaded circuits can lead to trip breakers or, in severe cases, electrical fires. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, has specific requirements for kitchen circuits. These requirements are in place to ensure electrical safety and proper functioning of appliances and lighting. It's always advisable to consult the latest edition of the NEC or a qualified electrician for specific guidance on your particular wiring project. Understanding ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, is crucial for kitchen safety. A GFCI is a device that monitors the current flowing into and out of a circuit. If it detects an imbalance, which could indicate a ground fault or leakage current, it quickly trips the circuit, cutting off power and preventing electrical shock. GFCIs are especially important in areas where water is present, such as kitchens and bathrooms, as water increases the risk of electrical shock. Regarding wire gauge, the American wire gauge, or AUG, is a standardized system for denoting wire sizes. The smaller the number, the larger the wire diameter and the higher the current carrying capacity. Using the correct wire gauge for a circuit is essential for safety and proper functioning. Undersized wires can overheat and cause fires, while oversized wires are unnecessary and add to the cost. The 80% load rule is a fundamental principle in electrical wiring. It's designed to prevent circuits from being continuously loaded to their maximum capacity, which can cause overheating and premature failure of circuit components. By limiting the load to 80% of the circuit's rating, a safety margin is maintained. When calculating the load on a circuit, it's essential to consider all appliances and devices that will be connected to the circuit simultaneously. This includes not only the wattage of each device but also any surge currents that may occur when devices are turned on. Surge currents can be significantly higher than the normal operating current and can trip breakers if not accounted for. Dedicated circuits are circuits that serve only one appliance or a limited number of outlets in a specific area. Dedicated circuits are often required for high-power appliances such as refrigerators, ovens, and dishwashers. Using dedicated circuits helps to prevent overloading of general-purpose circuits and ensures that these appliances receive the power they need to operate properly. The location of receptacles in a kitchen is also subject to specific requirements in the NEC. Receptacles must be installed so that no point along the countertop is more than 24 inches from a receptacle. This ensures that appliances can be easily plugged in without the need for extension cords, which can be a safety hazard. Island countertops and peninsula countertops also have specific receptacle requirements. At least one receptacle must be installed on any island countertop that is 12 inches or wider. At least one receptacle must be installed on any peninsula countertop that is 12 inches or wider and extends 2 feet or more from the wall. When installing receptacles near sinks or water sources, it's essential to use weatherproof or tamper-resistant receptacles. Weatherproof receptacles are designed to prevent water from entering the receptacle and causing a short circuit. Tamper-resistant receptacles have internal shutters that prevent small objects from being inserted into the slots, reducing the risk of electrical shock to children. Electrical boxes are used to enclose and protect wiring connections. The type of electrical box used depends on the location and application. Metal boxes are typically used for surface-mounted wiring, while plastic boxes are commonly used for recessed wiring. The size of the electrical box must be large enough to accommodate the wires and devices installed in it. When making wiring connections, it's essential to use the correct wiring methods and connectors. Wires must be properly stripped and twisted together before being connected to terminals or devices. Wire connectors, such as wire nuts or crimp connectors, must be used to ensure a secure and reliable connection. Electrical permits are often required for electrical work, especially for new construction or major renovations. An electrical permit ensures that the work is inspected by a qualified electrical inspector to ensure that it meets the requirements of the NEC and local codes. Hiring a qualified electrician is always recommended for electrical work, especially if you are not familiar with electrical codes and safety practices. A qualified electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform electrical work safely and correctly. They can also help you to obtain the necessary permits and inspections. Electrical safety is paramount when working with electricity. Always turn off the power to the circuit before working on it. Use insulated tools and wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. Never work on electrical systems when you are wet or standing in water. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you. In summary, understanding the nuances of kitchen receptacle circuits requires careful consideration of factors such as circuit amperage, wire gauge, GFCI protection, load limits, receptacle placement, and adherence to the NEC. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your kitchen electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant with applicable codes. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and seek guidance from a qualified electrician when necessary. Remember, electrical safety is not just a recommendation, it's a responsibility. Firstly, the 20 amps wall appliance branch circuits. These are specifically for countertop receptacles in the kitchen, pantry, dining room, and similar areas. They're designed to handle the load of multiple small appliances used simultaneously. Secondly, the allowance for extra 20 amp circuits to feed other outlets, like a range hood, provided they meet the requirements of GFCI protection and load limits. This provides flexibility in kitchen design. Thirdly, the option for 15 amp receptacle circuits, which can supplement the 20 amp circuits as long as they comply with GFCI protection, load limits, and wire gauge requirements. This offers a balance between capacity and cost. Fourthly, the critical rule regarding receptacles within 6 feet of a sink or water source, which must be on a 20 amp dedicated circuit. This is a crucial safety measure to prevent electrical shock. Fifthly, the importance of circuit labeling, which helps in identifying circuits and their protection status, facilitating troubleshooting and maintenance. Sixthly, the recommendation for sufficient outlets, preventing overloading and the use of extension cords. Seventhly, the NEC is the authoritative source for electrical requirements. Consulting the NEC or a qualified electrician is always recommended. Eighthly, the function of ground fault circuit interrupters, which protect against electrical shock by detecting imbalances in current. Ninthly, the American wire gauge system, ensuring the correct wire size is used for each circuit based on its amperage rating. Tenthly, the 80% load rule, which is a safety margin to prevent overheating and circuit failure. 11thly, the importance of considering surge currents when calculating the load on a circuit, especially for appliances that draw a high current when starting. 12thly, the use of dedicated circuits for high-power appliances, ensuring they have sufficient power and prevent overloading of general-purpose circuits. 13thly, the NEC requirements for receptacle placement along countertops, minimizing the need for extension cords. 14thly, the use of weatherproof or tamper-resistant receptacles near sinks or water sources, further enhancing electrical safety. 15thly, the selection of appropriate electrical boxes based on the location and application. 16thly, the proper wiring methods and connectors to ensure secure and reliable connections. 17thly, the need for electrical permits for certain types of electrical work, ensuring compliance with codes and regulations. 18thly, the recommendation to hire a qualified electrician, especially for complex or unfamiliar electrical work. 19thly, the importance of electrical safety practices, such as turning off the power before working on circuits and using insulated tools. 20thly, the understanding that electrical safety is paramount and should never be compromised. In addition to these points, consider the following. The evolution of kitchen appliances and their power demands have influenced the NEC requirements for kitchen circuits over time. Modern kitchens often feature a variety of high-wattage appliances, such as microwave ovens, toasters, blenders, and coffee makers, which can easily overload a single circuit. The NEC has responded to these trends by increasing the minimum number of required small appliance branch circuits and by specifying the use of 20-amp circuits for countertop receptacles. The use of arc fault circuit interrupters, or FSIs, is another important safety measure in modern electrical systems. FSIs are designed to detect arc faults, which are dangerous electrical conditions that can cause fires. Arc faults can occur when wires are damaged, insulation is worn, or connections are loose. FSIs are typically required for circuits that serve bedrooms and other living areas. The selection of appropriate lighting for the kitchen is also important. Recessed lighting, pendant lighting, and under-cabinet lighting can all be used to create a well-lit and functional kitchen space. When selecting lighting fixtures, it's essential to consider the energy efficiency of the fixtures and the color temperature of the light. Energy-efficient fixtures, such as LED lights, can save money on electricity bills and reduce the environmental impact. The color temperature of the light can affect the mood and ambience of the kitchen. Warm light, with a color temperature of around 2700 kelvins, creates a cozy and inviting atmosphere, while cool light, with a color temperature of around 5000 kelvins, provides a brighter and more functional light. The placement of lighting fixtures is also important. Recessed lighting should be spaced evenly throughout the kitchen to provide general illumination. Pendant lighting can be used to highlight specific areas, such as islands or countertops. Under-cabinet lighting can provide task lighting for food preparation. In addition to the electrical requirements for kitchen circuits, there are also plumbing requirements for kitchens. These requirements include the installation of a kitchen sink, a dishwasher, and a garbage disposal. The plumbing system must be properly vented to prevent sewer gases from entering the kitchen. The water supply lines must be properly sized and insulated to prevent freezing. The drain lines must be properly sloped to ensure proper drainage. The installation of a backflow preventer is required to prevent contaminated water from flowing back into the potable water supply. The selection of appropriate materials for kitchen construction is also important. Kitchen cabinets should be made of durable and water-resistant materials. Countertops should be made of materials that are easy to clean and resistant to stains and scratches. Flooring should be made of materials that are slip-resistant and easy to maintain. Walls should be painted with a washable and mold-resistant paint. The design of the kitchen should also take into account accessibility for people with disabilities. The kitchen should be designed to allow people with disabilities to move around easily and access all of the appliances and fixtures. Countertops should be installed at a height that is comfortable for people in wheelchairs. Appliances should be selected that are easy to use for people with disabilities. In conclusion, the electrical and plumbing requirements for kitchens are complex and multifaceted. It is essential to consult with qualified professionals to ensure that your kitchen is safe, functional, and compliant with applicable codes and regulations. By taking the time to plan and design your kitchen carefully, you can create a space that is both beautiful and functional for years to come. If you are planning to remodel your kitchen, be sure to obtain the necessary permits and inspections. This will ensure that the work is done correctly and safely. Be sure to hire qualified contractors who are licensed and insured. This will protect you from liability in case of accidents or damage. Be sure to communicate clearly with your contractors and make sure they understand your expectations. This will help to ensure that the project is completed to your satisfaction. Be sure to inspect the work carefully as it is being done and address any concerns promptly. This will help to prevent problems from developing later on. Be sure to obtain all of the necessary documentation, such as warranties and operating instructions. This will help you to maintain your kitchen properly and address any issues that may arise in the future. By following these tips, you can ensure that your kitchen remodeling project is a success. The NEC Article 210.52 covers the requirements for receptacle outlets in dwelling units, including kitchens. This section specifies the number and location of receptacles required in various areas of the home, including countertop and wall spaces in kitchens. Understanding this article is crucial for ensuring compliance with electrical codes and providing adequate electrical access for appliances and devices. The NEC also addresses the use of extension cords. While extension cords can be convenient, they should be used with caution and only on a temporary basis. Overloading extension cords can cause them to overheat and create a fire hazard. Extension cords should be properly sized for the load they are carrying and should be inspected regularly for damage. It is important to understand the difference between branch circuits and feeders. A branch circuit is the portion of an electrical system that extends from the final overcurrent device protecting the circuit to the outlets. Feeders are the conductors that carry power from the service equipment to the branch circuits. Feeders are typically larger than branch circuits and are designed to carry a higher current load. When working on electrical systems, it is essential to follow proper lockout/tagout procedures. Lockout/tagout procedures are designed to prevent accidental energization of electrical equipment while it is being worked on. These procedures involve disconnecting the power source and placing a lock and tag on the disconnect switch to prevent it from being turned on. It is also important to use appropriate personal protective equipment when working on electrical systems. This equipment includes safety glasses, insulated gloves, and appropriate clothing. Remember to treat electricity with respect and always follow safety precautions to prevent accidents.